Tell us about this brand of cosplay wrestling that we're pioneers in.
It is called FSCW. It stands for Fantasy Cosplay Championship Wrestling. Nope.
Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling.
Why are you
He's
using
got
my
a
mic?
microphone of his own.
Mic.
Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling.
You got that? Fantasy
Yeah,
Super
I'm terrible.
Cosplay
Well, we
Wrestling.
just recently changed the branding of the name, but it's the same quality of stuff. Basically, your favorite characters from all sorts of regions of pop culture get in a wrestling ring and wrestle each other for your entertainment. So you're going to see Mario, you're going to see Evil Lyn, you're going to see Bane, you're going to see Jinx from League of Legends, you're going to see Skeletor. Who else we got? We got a lot of cool. We got
all of your beloved
Deadpool.
favorite characters trying to kill each other. I love it.
We got a little
It's like
Luigi. We got a little
Celebrity
Luigi fan out in the
Deathmatch,
audience
but
right there.
live.
Hey!
So yeah, we do that every night. Tonight's at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow's at 8 o'clock. And the other 2 nights, I will have to look up to tell you. I want to say it's 6 o'clock.
It's called the internet.
But yeah,
Check
we're
out.
right 2 doors down. So
Just follow the noise.
you have a mic, right? What? You need my mic too?
Oh, no, man. We're good.
All right, well, going down the roster real quick. We'll do ladies first. How did you get involved in wrestling? You got yours.
Oh,
Yeah. Tell us a little about your wrestling pedigree.
my dad got me into wrestling when I watched it when I was younger, and it's just been something that's always been a dream of mine, and I'm very fortunate enough to have people come and support us, so thank you guys.
I agree with that. Your turn.
All right, how do I got into wrestling?
Yes. The
I
short
grew up
version.
watching it, but I didn't think it was anything I could do, but I wanted to act, and so I got a degree in theater with an acting emphasis. Started doing live theater and shows and stunts and dancing all over the U.S. Ended up in Florida, working at Universal. There, at the time, they were filming TNA, Total Nonstop Action Impact, on a bi-monthly, I don't know, on a regular
On a
basis.
on
I
an
don't know.
irregular schedule.
It was a couple times every month, I don't know. So I would go because I love wrestling. And they were like, hey, if you act, dance, and do stunts, why don't you wrestle? And I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't something I could take at Murray State University. So I ended up following a couple of guys to wrestling school, and voila, wrestling
Where is
happened.
wrestling school?
I feel like you just told me that in my head.
I didn't even know wrestling school was a thing. Where is it?
I actually went to Team 3D Academy, but yeah, there's wrestling schools
There's
all
like
over.
a lot of them. I had no idea that was an option.
It's like college.
Yeah,
everywhere.
you think that would be at the university, because at the university I took dance, I took taekwondo, I took kickboxing, but there was no pro wrestling in the university I graduated from. So
Where did you go to school?
what? Murray State University in Kentucky. So it's pretty good. Go Racers.
I didn't know they had college in Kentucky.
Ba-dum-bum, ching. All right,
Stab you in
smart
the
guy,
face.
tell us about your wrestling career. Yeah.
Everything that Leva did, except not nearly as successful or on television or of any significance. But the same exact story as Leva, minus anything
It's
anybody's
not
heard
exact. You're just being lazy.
of. Well, I never worked at Universal.
You're
That's
just like
true.
ditto. I don't want to.
No, I never worked at Universal. I was never a stuntman. I never did TNA. I never worked for WWE. I never went to university in Kentucky. What else did you do?
Just keep listing all the things you've never done.
Anything Leva did, I didn't do. So it's actually the exact
I've never
I
been in
was on
space.
the hit show WrestleLicious
never
by
owned an
makers of
Infinity
Glow.
Gauntlet.
What?
I was on the hit show WrestleLicious by the makers of Glow.
Yeah, no, I've never done that either.
What have you done?
He's kept a lid in this whole organization for the past several weeks.
I've wrestled some really cool people, and I've lost to a lot of really cool people. I wrestled Kevin Nash. I lost to him. Wrestled Brodus Clay. I lost to him. I lost to Booker T. I lost to who else did I lose to? And just about anybody that was
You
on.
name it. He's lost
Ryback. I lost to Ryback. I lost to basically people that get on TV and then come off TV. They come to me and beat me. So that's pretty much my claim to fame is I lose to everyone that people have heard of, which is kind of fun, I guess. I won a match last week. That was the first time in 4 years I won a match. Hopefully I win again tonight. That'll be 2 in 4 years. But, it's not looking too good.
Awesome.
Lisa, where did you learn to wrestle?
Well, what I do is I get in the ring and I'm just like, do whatever you want to me, guys. I'm not a wrestler.
Is that like for money or?
I'll take money.
Okay.
Sure.
Where
I
are
heard
I
you
say
that-
no
going?
to too many gigs.
Oh,
I'm
I-
a comedian. I don't even know why I'm here.
I've heard that you can Google your name and pictures of your feet come up. Is this true?
Sadly, yes. But
Okay.
but I don't know
All
why you're bringing this up now.
I mean, we're out of material. You've already talked about everything, so.
This is a 3-hour panel. We're out of material.
Exactly.
In the first 5 minutes. That's not good.
Who's this guy?
That's one of our guests of the convention. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kellen Goff.
Woo!
I'm actually one of the PAs. No, I'm Kellen Goff. I voice act for video games and the animes and the cartoons, and the one that's gotten me the most likes is Funtime Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's, which was a very, very fun one to do. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here and stuff. Oh, it's like a, hi everybody! It's like something to, for jump scares it has to be jumpy, right?
How many Twitter followers do you have?
I think I just passed 7K.
7. Leva, how many Twitter followers do you have? Twitter followers. Ballpark. It doesn't have to be
45, 46
exact.
K.
46,000.
Yeah, I think it's 46. I don't know. Keep up with this. Hold on. Hold up.
Sweet.
No?
Oh wait, I have more Instagram followers
How
than
many Instagram followers
Twitter.
do you have?
I never really got into the Instagram thing. Not
Yeah,
much.
46.3.
Oh, and you have the blue check mark? Wow.
Cool.
Why are you here?
Rats.
But I can't find my table.
Oh. Sorry.
I swear I'm signing at some point this weekend, guys. We'll find it.
And Kellen, you're at Kellen Goff, one word?
What's that?
You're at Kellen Goff, one word, right?
Yes. It's like Hasselhoff, but they screwed it up at Ellis Island.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's give everybody a bump right now. Everybody, pull out your mobile devices. Pull out your mobile devices, okay, and then get on the little Twitter thing if you got it, okay, and punch in Kellen Goff, and then punch in.
Oh, you meant my username. I thought you meant my real name.
No.
Like I was
no.
hiding my
No, your
first
Twitter
name
thing.
forever.
No. Thank you for doing
I'm
it.
David Kellen Goff.
At David. No. You also switched it up to at Supercon this weekend, didn't you?
What was that?
You also switched it to at Supercon this weekend, didn't you?
I did.
Thank you for that. We appreciate
FL
that.
Supercon.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wanted people to come over. Yeah, at FL Soup. Well, I got Kellen in there. Kellen, she's asking me if I'm afraid to lose my name. Kellen is not really too common of a name. I mean, there's that one football player, Winslow, but I don't think he's voice acted for anything that I know of. Could be wrong.
But he probably wants the Twitter. Like, he's been waiting and he checks every day to see when it's available. And you switch over for the con, which is really nice, but then boom, he's on it.
Kellen Winslow, if you Twitter stalk me, hit me up.
Can you do that? You can steal somebody's Twitter name?
I'm not follow you right now.
There's a thing on YouTube where, like, if someone is inactive so long, you can, like, put in a claim to get the name if you want it. Like, I used to, back in the day, my username was Speed Jolt, but that was taken, so you have to put, like, the 101 or, like, the XD if you're one of those cool kids. Or, just anything behind it. But nowadays you can, like, get the new username. I don't know how we tangented to this, but yeah.
It's called killing time. Okay, so how many more hours do we have?
It's called Kellen Time.
Oh, snap!
Oh, that's why he's up here.
Why? How is Kellen time not your handle?
I don't know. I wasn't that creative of a kid.
You're still a kid. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you have a point there.
It's not too late. Tell us about, though, Five Nights at Freddy's. That put you on the map, and that's your signature project, hasn't
Well,
it?
yeah, that was a fun one. My friend, he was like, hey, this looks pretty interesting, because we didn't know that was the project. All we got was I got costumed entertainer. But the only hint that I got was it was made by the creator of the first 4 games, Scott Cawthon. And so I logged onto my email. I'd had like 2 hours of sleep. And and I looked at it. I like, oh, this is ending soon, and this is probably important. So I walk over to. Usually we have like our booth by our bed just in case of emergency, you know. But I walked over to my microphone with the booth and stuff, and the copy said something like, I remember what it said. It said, someone that your kids would love, but your parents wouldn't feel comfortable leaving them alone with, you know? So I pictured Chuck E. Cheese from way back in the day, but
Hey, kids!
Yeah, exactly. But I blew them up to 10 because back then I was really scared of big animatronic mice.
Mices?
Mice.
I was always scared of the one that was always broken. There was always one that was broken. It was always like stuck on.
Oh, like in the Rockafire explosion way back in Showbiz Pizza. Yeah. No, there was always one that was malfunctioning because it was a pretty new technology back in the day. But anywho, I got up to the mic. I was like, ha! And I screamed out the audition and stuff, and I was like, you're gonna like that. And I sent it to them and fell asleep on the floor. 5 hours later, I get the email, hey, you got the wrong. I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't figure out who I was until the game's release. That's how secret it was kept. He keeps everything very, very secret. So yeah, ever since then, I'm just in awe of how many people have come up to me and said, you've inspired me to start doing this stuff. And you know, I even got some kids who are like, this saved me from a very dark time, like the S word, the suicide word. Every time I just can't help like crying about it, because like I didn't think it was going to turn out like that, you know? You do something, but you don't know who it's going to impact. But I'm really glad that it impacted. And I'm really glad I got to meet you guys now, because they flew me out to Florida because of it. Yeah.
What was it like the first time you saw, they did an action figure character, right?
They did.
Yeah, what was it like seeing that? So I always,
man.
anytime somebody's been made into an action figure, I always say, what was it like to see you yourself in the toy aisle?
It's funny, like, I didn't really associate myself with it right away, but like when I took it out of the package and put it on my shelf, I'm like, dang, you know.
You're not supposed to take it out of the package.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't worry, I got two. Yeah. One to play with, one for show, one for the other.
Play with himself.
I was gonna make that joke.
No, but yeah, like stuff is still coming out. Hot Topic is making bank off of this thing. Oh my god! But
when you see it at Target, you know you have arrived.
oh yeah.
Especially for video game properties, they usually don't translate over as well.
I would be. I don't think anything like this is ever going to happen again. I'd be happy if it just stopped here. You know, like I want to keep going, of course, but like if it's just been so great to all this stuff to happen.
You're not stopping yet. If you can, tell us anything about the Warhammer 40K project, because I'm a huge fan of Warhammer 40,000.
Oh, yeah. I've never been asked about that before. Glad you asked. It's called.
It's what I do.
It's a Warhammer 4K game, and they outsourced it to these guys called Neocore Games. Really good guy, Peter Sgezdi. He spells it Sgzedi. I just call him Peter Spaghetti.
Please tell me you answer the phone and be like, yo, it's Peter Spaghetti, what's
Yo,
up?
Spaghettis, what's up? Spagooter and Merbles, how's it going? No, but I'm killing her over there. It's a really new take on it, because like usually it's like sort of top-down real-time strategy, right? This one is third-person action adventure open world type deal, and I had the honor of taking up some roles there of commander and large enemies and medium enemies, and I wish I had their names, but that's all they'll give me at this point.
Probably chaos. Probably maybe Tyrann. Did you just go?
Yeah,
Did you say blood, guts, murder?
Yeah,
Then
I was
you're
like,
chaos.
"Blood, guts, brr," like stuff like that.
Yeah, you were forces of chaos.
Okay, cool.
Which is the 40K equivalent of turning to the dark side of the force.
I just learned something new.
Hey.
But it's really fun to do. I need a lot of herbal tea after it because it's a lot of gravel and it's a lot of screaming. But I'm super excited for it because it's an open beta right now. If you want to check it out.
Talk about blowing out your voice. That's always a peril. Did you ever do a Hail Mary in an audition and clench it with a voice and suddenly realize, wait a minute, what did I just get myself into?
Yeah. Well, usually it doesn't go that far because, like, I mean, in the beginning, it's like there was an audition for a J. Jonah Jameson once, which is the character that J.K. Simmons played in Spider-Man.
I think we all know that. I think this crowd knows that character.
Yeah, of course. I'm just, for those who don't know. But he was all screaming, and I did the audition, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't get it. Because that's the most I could muster at that point. There have been a couple like that, but when that happens, you just have to keep pushing through, Otherwise, they hire someone else, which, if someone else is better suited for it, don't stop them. But if it causes more trouble for the studio after they've already paid you for one session, then, just be a trooper about it. But yes, that has happened before.
And I'll start with you, and we'll go all the way down the panel, because I know we're losing our wrestlers in a few minutes.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hogging.
What's the dream gig?
What's that?
What's the dream gig? The dream gig.
Oh, the dream gig. Oh, I want to work on Transformers. I am a huge Transformers nerd. I want to just voice one canon Transformer once, and I could die happy.
Any version, or G? I'm a G1 fan, and the buck stops there for me.
Any.
I
like G1, but any.
I can't say anything, but there's a big G1 thing on the horizon.
Woo!
And that's all I'm allowed to say. Yes. Yeah, you, Lisa.
You're
you're
asking all of us the
yes,
dream
I'm asking
gig?
all of you.
Right,
Yeah.
You're looking at it right here.
Oh,
I was hoping
you
to do.
stole my answer.
No, Supercon live. I was like, man, I hope we get like maybe 24 people, and sit here with my buddies, and that's right. I feel like I've exceeded that dream. Here it is. I'm a comedian, so anytime I get booked anywhere, I'm happy.
All right, fair enough.
I do bars and every terrible gig.
Oh, we'll talk some comedy horror stories probably. So. Well, boss, you get the monkey spa.
What's the question?
What's the dream gig?
Oh,
Massage therapy.
no, I don't know, lead singer of the Rolling Stones or something like that probably would be dream.
All right.
Chip
I think that's
Chippendales.
taken though. I don't
Be
know.
honest.
For wrestling-wise, I just want a TV match. I just want one. I don't have to win, but I'd like just one so I can show it to somebody and just be like, hey, look, I did this once, and there you go. And then I can retire and stop doing this.
One question. What's this panel rated? I don't want to curse. I don't want.
Well, we have little ones in the audience.
kids.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Usually we go PG-13 after 9 o'clock.
Okay.
That's why we have programming to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Gotcha.
Burlesque show tonight. Leave it. Your turn.
I think my dream gig would be being The Rock.
Yeah.
I want to be The Rock. I want to wrestle, but also
Lofty goal.
branch over to TV and movies, which I'm slowly chipping away at that. So I just filmed something last week. Hopefully it works.
You know, I've always liked him.
Plus, I'm at The Rock's money. Is that weird?
I've always liked him, but honestly, I could truly say I fell in love with him when he started doing Ballers. Because Ballers, that show at HBO, absolutely showed, wait, he can act. No, he can really act. You know, he can play it straight, and plus the writing on that show is like superb. So
Yeah, that's my dream gig. I'm following in those footsteps, working on transitioning. So,
right on.
That's me.
Yes.
My dream gig is to continually wrestle all over the world, like just hit everywhere. But eventually, one time, I would like to go against Kimura and her daughter Hana over in Japan with Soraya Knight and an exploding barbed wire death match with surrounding water, how they used to do in FMW.
Wow. That is magnificent because it's so specific.
I want the exploding barbed wire death match with the
Wow.
water around it.
I mean,
Kind of like Bash at the Beach, WCW style.
Yeah,
This-
you really go with real old school,
Beach balls,
Getting-
explosion.
getting color the whole 9 yards. Maybe
All
not
of the
that much.
colors.
Nice.
What about you, Patty? Dream gig?
Yeah, Patty, what's your dream?
I want to be the Bill Maher of the geek world. I want to be the guy that tells the ugly truth about geek culture. You know, sometimes people agree with me, sometimes don't. I want to be able to kind of call out like the social issues because right now we're in a very geek culture was never designed to hold like 4 generations, but that's what we've got right now. And so everybody's got this idea that they deserve to sit at the head of the table. My theory is there's no head at the table. It's a big endless round table, and everybody needs to stop being pissed off about what the other person is eating and just enjoy their stuff and kind of live and let live. You know, Doctor Who woman, fine, big deal, move on, whatever. New Star Trek, just keep going. Anything new doesn't take away your enjoyment of what's already up here, you know? And the only thing that bothers me is when they want to talk about, like, when they want to go back and excise old comics, when they want to, oh, well, we're never going to reprint this series because it depicts this character, which is unpolitically correct by today's standards. That's where I draw the line. So that's kind of where I'm at. Or become a fireman.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. No, actually, my
Well,
dream,
that was
my
nice,
dream gig.
but listen, none of us are going to reach our dreams. So let's just have a little dose of reality. Oh, sorry.
Leave it to the comedian to piss on that.
I just have low expectations, which is good because then I'm always happily surprised by things.
Low standards, too.
Totally.
Don't worry, I laughed.
Thank you.
Wrestlers, do we have you? How much longer do we have you
I
guys?
have to go.
You gotta go. I thought so. Okay.
Oh,
I have to
All
go
right.
host another panel. I'm sorry, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it
Would you
up
like
for
a more
our athletes. They're going to be
seat?
performing all
Yeah,
weekend,
get more
and they're going to be doing our stages. If you want to come out and check us out,
Yay.
2 doors down, they're going to be in that. Leave is going to be co-hosting the main costume contest with me Saturday night, so we will see them there.
Okay.
Was that?
Do
you
I
can
stay
stay.
or
You can
do
stay
I
if you
go?
want. If you want, you can stay. If you got to go to the wrestling stuff, that's fine too.
Well, this is much comfier.
Well, then move over and give him my seat back.
Oh, okay.
I get my own mic, too.
I got all my notes. So,
Mystery beverage there.
Mystery beverage.
Lisa,
Is
you've
that
done a little
water?
voiceover work, haven't you?
I've had a what?
You've done a little voiceover work as well, haven't you?
I have here and there.
You've dabbled.
I've dabbled, yeah. Nothing super exciting. I've done like a lot of commercials where they need like a character sounding voice. I did a long running one where I was like a damsel in distress tied to the train tracks kind of a thing. Like, oh my God, my hero! Like that kind of a voice.
Oh, so like olive oil type deal.
Yeah,
Okay,
kind of
cool.
like a thing like that, and miscellaneous animated stuff. Nothing that no anyone would know. See, look at my attitude. It's so bad. I don't mean to be this way.
You're fine.
Nah, don't sweat. Well, it's curious about it too. You talk about the commercials and stuff like that. You know, whenever we do workshops here with voiceover and stuff, one of the biggest things I have to tell everybody is that you can practice all day that I will use my super Kyoto. But you also have to learn the skill of Chrome toothpaste. Gets teeth whiter and faster, available at all drugstores. Yeah.
There are way more commercials than cartoons and video games.
Yeah,
That's the
thing is,
moneymaker.
voiceover is really hard to break into, and
Yep.
I focus all my time on doing stand-up comedy, and then I'm lucky because when you're a stand-up comic, you get offered all these little side gigs because you sort of have the skill set to perform and to speak and whatever. So you'll get acting gigs, and like I was on Nickelodeon, I do all these other little side things which I love and are great, but I don't focus on that. So there's never anything huge or exciting, not yet. I mean, hopefully. But I focus always on the stand-up because I'm dumb and there's no money in it, so I don't know why. But that's what I like to do.
Well,
so.
as you go on, you brand yourself, and people, it's not like people are just like, oh, hey, let's get Lisa to do the voice for this.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do more voiceover, but I haven't pursued it, I mean, it's like any other craft. You have to have respect for it, and people who do voiceover for a living, they invest all their time into it and learning how to be better at it, and also you have to be a good business person and all of that. You can't just do it. It's like when people look at stand-up comedians, they're just like, I could do that. Well, you can't just do it. Any artistic form of anything, you have to put in time and energy and effort, and you also have to have the talent to do it. So it's like, I feel like people should always respect different art forms.
Well, this is what I think is so fascinating right now, because we have a comedian, we have a voiceover artist, and we have a wrestler, and we have whatever the heck I'm doing is. But the point of the matter is all four of these things, people constantly are like, oh, that's easy. I could do that. I could get thrown around. I could yell into a microphone. I can go up and tell knock-knock jokes or whatever. And the disparity of what people can see all four of us in action.
The first acting gig I got, I did it. And then I saw myself, and I cringed so hard. I was like, I need acting lessons. If people are going to be offering me things, like I need to start taking that seriously.
Yeah.
People will applaud at all four of our paths, and then in the same breath diminish it by saying, yeah, I could do that if I just had time or whatever.
But at some point, we all did that.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have gotten into it.
Theoretically, if we're doing it right, then we make it look easy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, like I know people who are working who still do workshops and take lessons and stuff, like Mindy Calling from The The and the Mindy Project. She was in for I was in the same voice acting class as her, because the day you stop learning is the day that you stop being human. That's what I feel.
Very much so.
What's that?
No, I absolutely agree. No, especially.
Well, it's not my words, but you got to keep learning new stuff, or else you stagnate and drop off the face of the earth. But the most successful people, know that.
One
I
of my
will
favorite.
say that like doing stand-up has been like a sneaky backdoor way into other things.
Yeah,
It
I
really is,
imagine.
because like the only reason I have an acting agent is because it was an agency that the person who worked there happened to be in the audience one night when I was doing a show, and she just thought I was funny and a good performer, and then she contacted me, and then I had an acting agent. It's so hard to get an acting agent, but
It is.
because of stand-up, I was able to get that, and then thank God for that, because it's so hard to pay your bills with stand-up. At least any little side acting gigs I get actually help me pay my bills.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, in wrestling, when promotions source you out, it's because they've seen your wrestling matches from other companies, or they were, like, sitting in the crowd going, oh, my gosh, like, that was brutal. I need her on my show. And that's how it, like, sometimes happens. And it's kind of like a magical slipper that they put on your foot. Like, you're like, oh, my God, this is so cool.
And wrestlers make great actors because they're always, performing for a crowd.
Yes.
Which, same principles as like theater or,
Yes.
stand-up comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, everything's on the spot. Like, what you see happens right in front of you, and it's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like every subtle facial reaction that The Rock made can have like a boo or a yay from the audience to accompany it.
Are you guys all, like, professional wrestling fans? Or, like, did you guys watch it when you guys were younger?
I dabble.
I was in the uncanny valley because it was the sweet spot age for me to get into it was the indie days. I was peripherally aware of the Hulk Hogan early attitude, but in the Attitude Era, I was fully sucked on in. So whether that made me that generation or a
Attitude Era's
late bloomer,
awesome.
I don't know. But all I know is at the time when I first got into it, people, aren't you too old for wrestling? And then 6 months later, they'd be like, hey, you want to come over and watch Raw tonight? I mean,
That's my favorite.
that was, yeah. I mean, it was, and I don't mean this to diminish any of the talent on there. I said
not
like,
at all.
those days it was hypnotic because it was
Yeah.
just anything could happen, and I love the. I love K-fob. I love the absolute. It's the same thing in improv, where it's like yes and. I don't care how ridiculous this situation is or everything else. This is real. This is happening, and I owe it to the audience. So I'll always give them that credit for that. That
If
the
you-
show must go on.
If you say no, then that just halts the whole thing, and you have to spend that extra couple of seconds coming up with something else, and then the audience could get not interested in it anymore in those couple of seconds. So yes, and is very important for that.
Did you watch wrestling?
Well, for stand-up, it's like, no, I don't think so.
No,
You channeled Jerry Seinfeld just there. No, I don't think so.
critiqued the hardest sometimes.
that's the yin to the yang, literally in stand-up.
Yeah.
As someone who's
Yeah.
who's been in your position and not done anywhere near as well as you, you know,
It's true. Like he was talking about how he's inspired people to not kill themselves. I think I've made people kill themselves. Like, I think
Why did
I
I
have.
laugh at that?
I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
mean to.
unless I don't know, unless the stuff you do here is not the stuff you do in the clubs or whatever. I don't know. I'm about to say like your stuff is good. You're not.
Thanks.
I never thought of you as being despotic or anything like that. You know.
No, I don't know.
Cycling back.
Unless you had to shut down a heckler, in which case, yeah,
Yeah.
by all means,
Then
gloves,
there's
gloves
enough.
are off.
That's part of the job.
Yeah.
You definitely
Yes.
have to.
Cycling back to wrestling, I just love Vince McMahon's power walk.
Oh my God,
That's my
so
favorite
good.
thing. Just
Do it.
whatever he does, whatever.
Are you about to do it?
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Oh, he about to do it.
Okay.
Oh,
Camera, follow this, please.
no chance.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
He's just wiggling like a worm. I love it.
That's like the angry dad you don't want coming after you. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's a great pleasure for us to be here in Fort Lauderdale. I know here in Florida, most of you wear mouse ears and push a broom and direct foreigners to the banyo.
He sounds like Arlie Ermy.
I just,
Ollie Early? Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, got a little more like that, you know.
Oh yeah. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of Slinky Dog. Yeah, both in Toy Story. Well.
Oh, that was
bad
that
for
was
forgetting-
Ernest.
Yeah, I feel bad for forgetting his name though.
Oh, no, you know,
I'm just so
What's that?
sleep deprived.
Barney.
Jim
yeah.
Varney, yeah.
You know, he was a Shakespearean actor.
I believe
he
it.
was a real actor. And you know, who got started on his show? Debbie Dayberry.
Really?
Yes, she played. There was a running segment on the show
Debbie?
called "The Clown Family," and she was the daughter.
Debbie Derryberry?
Yes,
She's my other mom. Oh, that's so cool.
I adore
not,
her.
Like not blood, but
Yeah.
like we go over to her house. She's pretty much. I gotta hand it to her. She's the one who launched me into the professional circuit
Really?
of the whole thing. We go over to her house sometimes and have, Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know how sometimes they do shadow casts and they have call outs from the audience.
We'll be doing that here. Pineapple Lamps, one of our groups, will be doing a
Lamps.
shadow cast.
Oh,
of that here,
really?
yeah.
Cool. She does that all her own with the movie Airplane. That is her favorite movie.
Wow.
And she is like a woman.
Why did I not? She was our guest here at Animate
Was she?
last year. Yes, and that we became pals.
Debbie,
If I had known that she was an Airplane fan, we would have just.
Debbie!
The biggest. She knows every line from the movie like she has it written on the back of her brain or something.
I would have dueled her just like because my
I
favorite.
want to see that.
All right, what's your favorite line in Airplane?
We're running on instruments.
Lisa, what's your favorite part of Airplane?
Oh God. I mean, I've seen it so many times, but a favorite part. I mean.
The part where the poop hits the fan. Everybody likes a poop joke.
God. when they call him Shirley, that's great.
That's
there's
iconic.
so many.
Shirley, you gotta be serious.
I mean, the automatic pilot is so gross.
Oh, Bob.
And every other
He's
part
happy.
that's too dirty to talk about now.
I love how he got his own credit, and he has like his own
Yes.
IMDb now.
He disintegrated.
He did.
Zucker kept him in his garage because it was like the cheapest plastic available. He literally just disintegrated.
Oh, rip
Although
off.
to this day, I'm still amazed that nobody's bought the rights to do their own. Yeah, I should probably do that. What am I saying?
Stop telling him,
Ignore
stop
that.
telling him.
Remakes are like sort of, they can go one way or another. One can like ruin the memories, and another can like revitalize them. But like maybe they feel like, you know, they should respect how it was back then, because a lot of the jokes they made in the movie you can't make now. So maybe that's why.
Surely you
Just
can't
think
be
about how brilliant the automatic pilot is. Just the idea of that joke, that you hit the automatic pilot button and there's an inflatable pilot.
His
We
name
do that-
wasn't
we
Bob.
actually do that at Disney. There's one of our subs at the show I work at.
Yeah.
He's very robotic and he's very blasé, and so we call him, we nickname him Otto. which is
Otto,
like-
yes, his name wasn't Bob. His
yeah,
name
it
was
Otto. Otto, yeah. So
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So whenever we say, yeah, they call Jim in, we all just go. You know. And one time he did that. We were doing that right when he was walking in. I was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Like, "Oh, nothing. We're just imitating snakes."
But of course, when he deflates too, you can only blow him back up from his crotch.
Yes.
That'd be a cool wrestling entrance, though. Just saying.
I think the kids are gone. We're good with that.
Oh, the kids are gone?
I feel like I could say crotch.
Wait.
Bye, children.
Now my favorite line in Airplane
Yeah.
is always very, very subtle. It's very, very ignored. It's just in the background, the guy's talking on the phone. No, this man's no experience whatsoever flying a commercial airline of this kind. He's a menace to himself and everything in the air. Yes, birds too. I just love that.
When did he say that? I don't remember that.
It was just one of the guys in the background, yeah, when he's just walking up like, no, there's no experience in the air. He's a menace to himself and everything in the air. Yes, birds too. And the I can't even replicate. The pause is just so perfect. You just imagine that even birds. Yes,
Everybody
birds
in
too.
that movie had perfect comedic timing. It was a masterpiece.
The Zucker brothers.
Anywho.
Yeah, listen to the DVD track on that one. That's brilliant. But yeah, Debbie, I adore her, and
Debbie's great.
I hope she comes back because now that knowing this, holy crap! Well,
Yeah.
let's get her back here. Okay, tell you what, come back to animate. Bring her.
Okay.
We'll do an airplane shadowcast.
I'll drag her kicking and screaming.
We will do an airplane shadowcast.
Okay. She likes the hot anyway. She lives in Burbank, so Florida's not too different.
No, not at all. We just got the humidity factor up the wazoo.
Big swordfish outside.
What's everybody's influences? If you had to like point the finger and say, okay, for individual paths as it is.
Make
Lisa,
an-
you're wincing. You don't have to go first.
Don't make an under the influence joke, okay? Because
No.
I saw the twinkle in your eye.
I will not make any jokes. I don't like to make jokes. I'm very serious.
Oh, you're a comedian? Tell us a
My-
joke.
That's always the worst.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, God.
I know.
Are you a voice actor? Do a voice. Do a voice.
Are you a wrestler? I'll wrestle you right now. That's the worst one for me.
I didn't know you guys got that too. Crap.
These
Yeah.
are our influences, by the way. We just answered the question like that.
Oh, you work at Disney? Can you get me tickets?
Yeah.
Give me a Stone Cold Stunner. Which I'll always do, by the way. I'll always be down to
I
give
could do a pretty good. I could do a pretty good Mickey Mouse impression. You want to hear? You think I could get into this? I'm like, yeah, chase your dreams.
We had the voice of Donald Duck joining us a little bit.
Yeah,
theoretically.
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
My Bill Cosby, of course. I know I haven't reached the level of rapists yet, but one day I'm hoping. Seriously though.
No,
Wait a second.
No. I agree.
I'm
Here's
listening
the-
intently.
No, here's
he
the deal.
He was a great comedic mind.
I grew up. My comedy holy trinity was Bill Cosby, Steve Martin, and George Carlin.
Good.
Growing
that's
up.
awesome.
That's
and,
great
And
Trinity.
and Bill Cosby
No Robin Williams.
was
though?
just he came later.
Okay.
He came later. Those were the albums I took down
Sure.
around in the 70s
Sure.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a kid, right? Okay, so in my house, like my dad has always loved stand-up comedy, and my mom is like, she would go to bed early, and my dad was like a night owl, so he would stay up late and like let his horrible children stay up late. Like we would like sneak out of bed and watch TV with him. So we'd watch like all the late night shows with the stand-up comics, and we just all thought that was an awesome thing to do.
Your dad's
But
cool.
my dad's pretty cool, but
Yeah.
also here's how my parents are not cool. They were always super, super strict.
Oh.
So my influences were clean comedians when I was little. So like Bill Cosby, of course, and Steve Martin was like this. Like we could hear some of it. Yeah. And then like Jerry Seinfeld
went to the
was
Turd
clean.
Museum. They got some good shit.
Jerry
there.
was clean.
Seinfeld was squeaky clean. And then like
He was squeaky.
Yeah,
Just
yes.
straight up.
But so my first influences were like all these comics that were family friendly, but I just knew that in general stand-up comedy was like a cool thing in my house. So I have two brothers and we're just all kind of jerks to each other all the time. So and it was like a cool thing to be like a smartass.
Sure.
So that's how I was led along this horrible path.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? I hate to bring it up, but he was walking out of court, right? Bill Cosby, and all the
I saw it. I already know what you're saying.
All the tabloids were asking him questions and stuff, and he didn't want to answer any of it, so he just went, "Hey, hey, hey!"
Oh, yes.
And then he got into his car.
What a beautiful
Yeah.
moment. Oh gosh.
That was a beautiful.
It's going to be my answer from now on.
Just hey, hey, hey.
Exactly. Oh, and there's kids coming in again. Come on,
It's
you guys.
so frustrating because Bill Cosby, I don't credit him anymore, but I always say it's like he said absolutely the wisest thing that I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Which was, it was one of his gags we talked about. I used to be a football player, you know, and I was before face cards, as you could tell.
Right.
But he always talked about how they called me out of bounds Cosby. I made a touchdown, I ran out of bounds. I wouldn't let anybody hitting me, you know, like, and then he said, and people are laughing because they're like, well, people laugh at you if you have good sense. And I found that to be absolutely true. That is the most true and wisest thing I've ever heard like, to this day. Like, yeah, people laugh
that
at you
is wise,
if you have good
yeah.
sense.
That's right.
You know, if you have an umbrella, people are going to laugh at you until it starts raining.
That's right.
Yeah. Mine are definitely Mel Blanc, who was,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, was the originator of most, if not all, of the Looney Tunes voices, and Barney Rubble. God, so many more.
You
Captain
really had the
Caveman.
market cornered.
Yeah, well, do you know how he started out?
No.
This was back when you could do this. He said, well, he was a comedian, right? But
Yeah.
he said, I want to do voices for cartoons, because he saw some who did it. So every day for like a year, he stood outside of the gates of the Warner Brothers lot and asked the gate guard if he could be let in to audition. And it was the same thing every day. It was like, my name is Ingo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. It was that kind of deal. And the guard would never let him in. And finally the guard died, and the next one was like, yeah, go ahead. So that's how he got his start there. And it was just magic since then. He originated a lot of the...
How did the guard die?
I don't... Old age.
Was he pushed out in front of the cars mysteriously?
He had a...
The guard committed suicide because he got tired of him asking
It was so
everything.
funny how the guard died. He was smushed by an Acme anvil. We didn't know where it came from.
A piano fell
A
on him.
piano fell on him, and
And the weird thing is, Mel was around the corner with the Acme catalog.
yeah.
He put a stamp on the envelope, put it in the mailbox, and then
You-
10 seconds later, the envelope dropped on the guy.
Like a newspaper, just. And other than that, also Dee Bradley Baker, who any animal, well, Dee Bradley Baker and Frank Welker, those are like, they corner the market on animal sounds, and they are both insane actors. They can both sing. Dee can speak. I can't speak.
I
Fluent.
think you speak just fine.
Oh, thank you. No, but he can speak fluent German. They're both just incredible, and they're the ones who actually got me into what I'm hired for most, which is creature ADR. Yes, and they taught me. Well, I've never met them, but they've spoken about throat conservation techniques and how to hold it for a 4-hour session. Stuff like that. Drink a lot of water.
Yeah, I was just going to
Stuff
ask you,
like
what
that.
are some of the tips for that?
Practice.
Hydrate.
Practice, hydrate, practice, hydrate.
It's so fun 'cause-
Take breaks. This is something that Fred Tatasciore, who voices the Hulk, taught me, so it's good. If your voice is hurting, don't say anything for one whole day. Nothing. Don't even whisper. And your voice will be A-OK, or as A-OK as it can be in the morning. And of course, tea and all these ancient remedies for that I can't name off the top of my head because I can't pronounce some of them. And just stuff to conserve your voice and stuff. A lot of tea, a lot of water, a lot of tea.
The show I do at Disney, it's I help the monsters at the Monsters Inc. laugh floor, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah?
And 10 years ago, when all the actors started out,
Yeah.
they wanted a great discouragement to all the characters and the definition.
Sure.
But everybody was just blowing themselves out.
Yep.
And finally everything moved on down and everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for comic legend David Lloyd.
Hey.
And we're going to tag team it out because I'm going to go eat a sandwich.
Here, we have the more comfortable chairs over here. Please.
Well, somebody said there was one at the end, and
No. Did you ever meet June? Because we just lost her last night.
Yes, I
Nice to meet
did.
you. Yes.
I did have the honor to meet her. It was she was accepting. I think she was accepting the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Award.
Right.
And
Those of you who don't know, June Foray, the voice of Rocky the Flying Squirrel, Natasha, tons of other
the
characters.
Witch, Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, Witch Hazel, one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
She did that every Halloween for as long as she could. She would go on this radio show and do the witch, and I believe it was call-in questions for advice, but she would just do it from phone booths sometimes. She would just stay in a phone booth
Oh, wow.
for hours just being on this show. That was one of her long-running traditions.
And she was a big proponent of pushing awareness for the art of animation, the talent, and everything else. So, yeah.
She should have been named. I think.
99. She had a great run. So,
Definitely.
you're welcome to stick around if you want to. We're going to talk some comic books and stuff like this with Mr. Lloyd, or if you got to run.
Sure. No. I can stay for a couple more minutes. My signing is. I'll stay for a couple more minutes from this dude.
This isn't a dude. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Mr. David Lloyd. Yes, it's me. We got a microphone right there.
well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, we had sat down a couple times up in Raleigh, and those of you who do not know, Mr. Lloyd is, of course, a cartoonist, illustrator, known for several works. Probably his most famous work is he was the artist on the original V for Vendetta series written by Alan Moore, and that the movie was based off of.
Very, very cool.
Well, hi. Welcome to Lauderdale.
Well, hello. Well,
And
hello.
and he's British.
Yes, I didn't know what the format was here. It's
No.
kind of-
This is
Oh,
kind
we
of.
don't know either.
Oh well, it's
It's kind of a loose talk show sort of format. Everybody kind of wheedles on in and wheedles on out. So
okay. So I'm very happy to be here, and it's nice to have a nice crowd here. And
so you're not drinking the usual red.
no.
Way to call him out, Patty.
Patty is referring to my proclivity for red wine, which is something that I like to have signings generally during the day, but I'm not always lucky with that. But anyway.
Oh no, it's
And the two people have just left because they don't want their child influenced by talk of alcohol, I guess.
Oh dear. All right. Well, he was too young for V Vendetta anyway, but that's
Okay.
Just real briefly. Of course, audience V for Vendetta. But what I actually would like to talk about is tell us about your project now. Your what you've got online, the web series and web publishing and.
Okay, right. Yes, thank you very much for that. I'm publishing now,
Keep going.
not drawing at all. This is something called Aces Weekly. This is a flyer that I have at my table. I'm at the table at Cadence Comic Art. If you can see me with all the other great artists there. You can hear me talk about this and also get sketches from me for just $10. And if you get a sketch from me for $10, you actually get a free volume of this, a taste of volume of this. And to describe it a little more, it's a completely on-screen comic art magazine, cyberspace comics. In the 21st century, there's really no reason why we need to spend lots and lots of money printing and warehousing and shipping and all that stuff. Because
I'm giving you the razzle dazzle.
because it's very important that we use the technology that we have to benefit readers, benefit creators. Because when you use cyberspace, you go directly to the reader from the computer publishing house. We can do that, so we should do that. We should embrace progress and technology and do that. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm publishing, it's called Aces Weekly. You can go to the web address, which is acesweekly.co.uk, not .com, .co.uk, because it comes from England, Britain, and so it's co. Please check it out. And you can check it out right now when you want to leave here, because come to the table and you can get a sketch for $10 and a taste of volume, a whole taste of volume, which is up to 200 pages, from me right there via coded cards that give you access to that volume. So I'm very proud of you producing this, and check it out. Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to make my exit.
Give it up for Kellen for spending some extra time with us.
Thank you.
And you're down. He'll be downstairs. He'll be with us all weekend. So if you want to come on by, grab an autograph.
I'll be signing down there at what time? 5:30.
Are you? What else are you doing with us this week? Are you doing just pictures and autograph? Are you
I'm
doing like
gonna-
phone messages and stuff? Or anything like that?
Phone,
Some people do that. Some people will do it. Hey, $20 to do your phone message. You know?
I'm actually not allowed to do that. It's funny, the laws we have in place for FNAF now. But I'm going to be apparently hosting a costume event tomorrow, a kids costume event.
Nice.
Which is at 4 p.m., which is going to be very fun, judging little kids on how well they can make a costume, or maybe not, because I'm just the host, not the judge. But it was lovely being up here with you guys. It's very nice to meet you, sir. Yeah, I love V for Vendetta. Very nice to meet you.
Always, brother.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
And very nice to meet
yes,
you.
great to meet you,
And
too.
I'll follow you all on Twitter.
And we'll
Awesome.
okay. And
We'll follow
yeah, like I
back.
said, we'll be around all weekend. And yeah, let's talk about getting you back and bringing Debbie. All right, one more round of applause for our amazing gentlemen.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, at what point did you decide to go all digital? And what kind of spurred that on?
Well, the thing is, you can do it, so you should do it. But how I actually got to be interested in it is I was in San Diego in 2011, and I met a guy called Pepe Marino. And Pepe Marino was actually a kind of digital pioneer, because he did the very first... he did something called Batman Digital Justice, which was the first time somebody had used software to completely do a comic.
And before that, he did Shatter.
Yeah.
There's a little backup in First Comics. It was and then I think they did an ongoing series. But yeah, the first computer-generated computer artwork, and
Yeah.
it looked like it. But the weird thing is that for the time in the '80s, it was fantastic.
Yeah, well, it was all pixelated and that, but it was early days, so it was very primitive
Yeah.
days. But anyway, the thing is, I met him, and he told me the story. I was in Artist Alley. He told me the story that he'd done a book, and it was one of these back-end deals, and he went to the publisher after all the money was in and said, okay, so where's my cut? And the publisher said, well, look, I'm really sorry, Pepe, but what with all the printing, the distribution, and promotion, and everything, it ate up a lot of the funds. And he said, well, where is it? He says, look, yeah, well, the fact is, there's nothing left. I'm really sorry about that. He said, but I did this. I did the book. You said there's nothing left for me? He said, well, the deal, the deal, it was all share of this and that, and it was all eaten up. So from that point on, Pepe said, well, okay, so I'm going to start doing my own thing, and I'll put it on the web. I'll set up a website. So he set up a website, which is still running, I think, because cutting out all those completely unnecessary costs is something you can do. You don't need to print it on paper. You don't need to put it in boxes. You don't need to ship it, and it's really don't. You can go directly to the reader. So he decided to do that, and I thought, well, that's a great idea. And I had actually become interested in the way great comics look on film, on screen rather, way back, because I did some comics for TV, a children's show that had a section in it where they had a strip. You had a character who's reading the comic, and then the camera goes into it, blah, blah, blah. But when I saw that, I thought how incredibly good it looked, It looked better than when you actually did it, on the paper. It looked so great. It brought all the colors to life. It looked vibrant and beautiful. So I was interested in the way, always was interested in the way comics looked on screen. So from that conversation with Pepe, I thought, okay, what is it? And when I got back to England, I thought, well, it'd be a good idea if I get some people together, because I knew a lot of people in the business, knew a lot of artists. We all get together, and I'll ask them if they want to do a bunch of short stories and put it together in an anthology and just sell it online. And the original plan was for me to actually use Pepe's site and put it on there. But then when I got together with the guy who actually helped me construct the thing, the co-founder, we thought, well, it'd be better if it was our own brand. If you weren't part of somebody else, you had your own brand, and that's basically what we did. So that's how we started, and that was 4.5 years ago, and we're still here. So even though it's a struggle, and it's tough selling comics that are on the cloud, because comic readers love collecting and they love paper, and so it's still a very tough market. But I believe in it. You all know you can get digital comics, and they're made and sold through Comixology. But Comixology mainly just do reruns of print stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not really original. Original digital comics product is a tough market because, as I say, comic readers want that collecting thing. So it's tough. But I really believe in it because we can do it. It's the future. It benefits the reader because it means we can give up to 200 pages for $10, which is you could no way do that if it was printed. And also it benefits the creator because the creator, without all those draining costs that go into shipping or warehousing and stuff, there's more money for the creator. So it benefits the reader, it benefits the creator. We can do it, and it's easy to do, and it's fast. So with all those benefits, let's do it.
The last time I sat down with Darwin Cook, he was a huge proponent of cybercomics, webcomics, and he was saying like this is the wave of the future. This is absolutely the wave of the future. And he agreed that we're in the uncanny valley right now where no one wants to be the first person to officially drive a stake through like paper comics or anything like that. But it does seem to be like an inevitability, and I feel like when that changes over, then your venue is going to explode.
Yeah, but I don't even want to drive a stake through print comics. I mean, print comics will always be here. That's fine. But there should be room for it too. And comic readers have to stop their addiction. They just have to get into rehab or something.
Yeah.
And stop.
Well, I think the proliferation of the tablet you know, and then again, it's here and there, but as people start embracing it more as opposed to a laptop and everything else, when the tablets start to become, in a few more years, I think that's going to be the gateway in terms of, so you don't have to open up and click on it, you just click, boom, swipe, swipe, swipe. And again, it's getting there through comicology and stuff like that. It's just, you know, I
It's taking too long.
yeah, I agree. It's coming, but yeah, it's also like, yeah, can it get here already?
Absolutely. Right.
What,
So what are you up to, Paddy?
oh, well, I'm up here with, have you ever met Lisa Crow? She's one of our
No, I
co-hosts.
haven't. No, I haven't.
Hello, nice to meet you.
She's a professional comedian, and she does she's a director of our geek comedy track.
Yes, and I do apologize for looking down at my phone a few times there. I have comedians who I'm organizing for our shows tonight and tomorrow. But yeah, they're all just like getting here now, and they're all lost and confused, of course. But yeah.
So, you know, if you want to do 5 minutes of stand-up, I mean, she'll give it time.
I'm
for
the
that,
lady
yeah.
to talk to.
No, I have no party pieces. I'm sorry.
That's good. Yeah, otherwise I'm good. Like I said, I spent a week and a half recovering from Raleigh, and of course, you know, Disney put me to work immediately. And thank you for accepting my Facebook friend request. I really appreciated that. Raised a lot of eyebrows. Wait a minute, the real David Lloyd? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. It's like get out. So
You'll block them soon enough.
everybody does.
Yeah.
All my rants. What did you do the weekend? Did you do any other appearances between Raleigh and now?
I was in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
I went directly from Raleigh to San Diego.
I hate ask. I don't ever want to ask people. Oh, so did you go to San Diego's? No, I was.
Yeah, because that's how I answer that question.
I would have thought somebody your echelon should have gone. So okay, so tell us about San Diego. They're on the West Coast. We're allowed to talk about West Coast conventions.
Well, San Diego was great. I mean, I try and go there every year because it's just. I mean, even if you don't really make as much out of it as you want to, or it's not as productive as you want it to be, it's just a fabulous place to be. It's the most ideal place for a convention there is. I mean, it's very crowded, massive and noisy. But the benefits of the actual place are great. I mean, you know, it's on the bay, there's lots of places to go, it's great weather. I mean, I don't know any other convention venue that's as good, although this is looking very good right now here.
Oh, this like I said, this is Thursday. It's a very mellow day.
More crowded than usual, the audience for this show.
Yeah. Don't be put off by the fact that it's Thursday. Trust me, this weekend, this whole joint's gonna be jumping.
Yeah. Is this being recorded all the time? Is it, or is it is?
Well, we're on the big screen.
Yeah.
We're on the. Oh right, I see. So it's and is it going to be? You're going to keep it forever, or is it just streamed?
No, we don't stream it. I think we're going to stream this. We're actually, I think we're just testing this out. Some of the bigger Q&As with our celebrities, we do record them.
So we're just going to be
mostly.
We're going to be just put in the waste bin, are we, after this?
No, we are. I think I think the boss likes to look at it too because he's locked up in the war room, you know, like putting out fires.
Well,
I think he likes to enjoy the programming of his own show.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's nice.
Make sure Lisa and I are doing a decent job.
Yeah. Well,
Like, why is Lisa texting?
Please put in a good word with us. Tell us again how ACES works in terms of that, because you've got like various like projects underneath it. Basically, how does somebody pitch something?
we have an address, info@acesweekly.co.uk. Anybody who wants to submit anything, they can go.
Kind of an
they
open
can go
door?
there. Yeah, it is an open door, only judged by whether you're good or not. That's basically it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm open to anyone who's good and wants to be published in what we do. And you know, if they send in samples and I like them, I give people the freedom to do whatever they want, basically, with just some rules, guidance. I mean, we want as big a subscription base as possible, so there's no gratuitous sex or violence. We can tell any kind of story. It's an anthology. sometimes if there's too much science fiction, which, you know, comic creators gravitate towards science fiction big time. They just love science fiction. So, you know, if there's too much science fiction, I say, well, look, more interested in something else. But they can do what they like. They can do what they like as long as they're good. And I as soon as I see the samples are good, I send out basic information. I don't have many people in the audience. There's only a couple right now that might be interested in submitting to Aces Weekly, but it's a good place to be. But it's a tough place to be, I have to say, because we don't have a page rate. We split the subscription, and we split the subscription that we get from each volume. And so there's an initial payment, and then when we sell the volumes on a constant level through such things as these conventions, as I say, these coded cards that we have, they get a chunk of that. So it's all on what we can sell. And luckily, lots of artists and creators are willing to do that because they believe in the pioneering value of it. They want to be part of that groundbreaking stuff, and they're happy to contribute. Sometimes they're going to contribute one story before they have to get back to doing something for the industry or something. Sometimes they want to do more, but they're very happy to support it, and I'm certainly happy to host them. There's a lot of talent out there. This is the thing. The big two, DC and Marvel, and the other companies that are bigger, they can be very picky. They need people who draw in a certain style or to some kind of rules that they make. But there's an incredible amount of talent out there that you should, you just wind it up and let it go, and you get fantastic stuff. And then there's a great benefit to giving people freedom, because when you give somebody freedom to do exactly what they want to do, they really have to impress. They feel the need to impress, and they want to impress their audience. So you're going to get the best out of people. The other great thing about giving people freedom and having a magazine that doesn't depend on a certain commercial basis. You don't have to sell so many thousand copies, blah, blah, blah. Means you can also have experimental stuff. So that's another benefit. But there is a lot of talent out there. And also globally, when I go to conventions, and generally speaking, because of my presence and my brand, and so many people know me on a worldwide basis, I get submissions from all over. So we have artists from Argentina, from Brazil, we have people from Spain, Italy, France, everywhere. So it's not just the UK, and it's a massive market. And my ambition really is not only to be able to harvest from that crop of international, global creators, but also to be able to sell out there globally. The only thing that holds us back is language. But that's what I'm trying to actually find a solution for. Actually getting very cheap language translations without it costing too much. Currently, if you actually change a language from English to, say, Spanish, you have to reproduce the whole page. That means that if you did sort of like Italian, French, etc., you're going to have to have a massive server, which is going to be very expensive. Yeah. But from a technological point of view, you can actually do that. I mean, I've been speaking to some web guys for some techs, like I see around. And I met a couple in San Diego, in fact. And I said, is there any easy, cheap way to do it? And they said, yeah, I'm sure it can. We can do that. But it hasn't been done yet. We haven't done it. And I said, well, do it. because if you can actually just change the language, right, easily on some product that you want to or that you want to sell globally,
Yeah.
that's going to benefit not just comics, but books.
Yeah.
I mean, the way things are now, right, if you have to make a deal with a foreign publisher. If I'm a publisher in England or France or something, and you want a French edition, you're going to have to go to a French publisher and do that.
Yeah.
And go through all the licensing and, you know, get it published and printed in France and all that stuff. You know, suppose you don't have to do that. So that means you can reach the world without making deals with anybody. That'd be fantastic.
It's a direct line. It rewards the original creator without all that Hollywood accounting. The French, and then of course you had to pay for the new cover of that one and everything else. So your royalty is like $3.27. But you moved 8,000 units. Oh, sorry, $3.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You know what I mean?
But I would relish the notion of being able to get so much good stuff out of Europe, so much good stuff out of South American comic fans. Really, they don't know. And this is one thing the only thing I really chided them on is that, not that I still love superheroes, but I'm also like, you can love superheroes, you can love the independent stuff, and you could love like the creator-owned stuff. But it's always bothered me that I can't enjoy the South American stuff or the stuff because of the language barrier. I can look at it and I can still follow the story because, again, a good artist, you can still follow the plot and everything else. But if there was like some whammy or whatever that I can just hold my phone over or something this way and translate it over, that would be an insane game changer.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm interested in, changing the game.
Let me know when that happens.
Well,
I will be the first disciple joining you on the mountaintop saying,
well,
check this
I
out.
think, well, there's a say, I've been assured by people who know the business that it can be done, and it hasn't been done. And maybe it hasn't been done because people will lose money if it's done. And, I think, without being too controversial, a lot of the progressive steps in publishing or anything else are restricted because people don't want to change. People don't like change because it's gonna change things completely. It's like digital publishing itself. At some point, if what I'm doing becomes successful, what I'm doing and what other people are trying to do in the same vein, if that becomes successful, a lot of printers are going to be unhappy. And a lot of distributors are going to be unhappy. And a lot of people making boxes that people have to put comics in to ship them are going to be unhappy. So, it's like the everlasting light bulb,
Yeah.
That was created once, and something happened to the guy that did that. But these
Along with the guy that created the saltwater engine.
well, case is made. So, but anyway, I think progress is important. Progress. If we can do things, we should do things. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It kills comedy a little bit, though, for me, for my job. Because it's like everyone will take out their phones at live stand-up comedy shows and then put it online, and it's like, if everyone in the world can access it, then why would someone pay for a ticket to come out and see the live show? Or if the material's been leaked online, then why would someone pay for my comedy CD? So it's
Yeah, but that's piracy. That's not.
Right. No, but I mean, we haven't caught up to it yet in my line of work. So, we just haven't evolved to figure out, okay, how do we stop that? Chris Rock actually just used this new device where they give everyone these bags. Everyone in the audience gets these bags for their cell phones so that they can't use them. So they can still hold on to their cell phone in the audience, but they can't use it to record the content. So.
I'm sorry. What you're doing, but if you can, whatever you do can be broadcast right across the world without any problems. That's beneficial, isn't it?
yeah, we can definitely use it to our advantage, of course, but, you know, I'm just saying that a lot of this stuff has hurt comedians too. You know, it's a matter of like someone at an unknown level like me, you know, who can't afford the lawyers to take down all of the content that's been pirated, you know, so it's like hard to break through that, you know.
Well,
Especially-
I think piracy is a different, you know, matter really. I mean, you can't. I mean, giving access to stuff illegally is bad in anybody's books. Of course,
yes.
I don't
Totally.
want people pirating what I'm doing. But that's part. The technological technology has good and bad sides. But
Absolutely.
you can't think about that and stop progress because somebody's.
Oh, for sure.
It's like hacking. It's like the internet. The internet is fantastic, but then we have hacking to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You just. You know, progress has to be embraced for its good, and you just have to deal with the bad when it comes up.
Totally agree with you. Absolutely.
It's like good and bad indeed. Well, it's been good that you spent some time with us, and bad,
Yes,
unfortunately,
thank
we
you.
have our next guest. A round of applause, Mr. David Lloyd.
Well,
Holy,
thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Before
you.
you go, you gotta. Because we're in South Florida. Here you go. All right, make it out to Patty. Sir, always a pleasure. We'll be around this weekend. I'll come on down. We'll see you. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Another round of applause for our wonderful guest and his incredible accomplishments. Again, that was Aces Weekly. And go on down, get the coupon, get the code, check it out, support some creator-owned stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our stage for remarkable gentlemen, a certified Disney legends. Please, a round of applause. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Give it up for Mr. Tony Anselmo.
Really talking to me. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Well, this isn't going to be your real Q&A, so this is our ongoing thing. So.
It's not real?
Yeah, no, it's not real. It's Miramax.
Is there a real one later? I've never
You
played
should
at
have
such an empty house.
Well, it is Thursday. Well, this is kind of our ongoing thing. It's a sort of a
I'm going to stand.
talk show format. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you, boss. Basically, it's an ongoing thing where bad people kind of come on in, go on in, and take on an Alf, and it kills some time. You should have a regular Q&A that's actually in the program guide, so you're going to have a much bigger house and everything else. So I can promise you that.
I'm not worried.
All right. Welcome to Florida. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's go back to the beginning because curious if you started on one side of the drawing board and then you ended up behind the other side of the glass. Tell us about when you got started at Cal Arts.
I brought my portfolio to the Disney studio in 1976 and showed it to Walt's 9 Old Men. And they looked at it and said, "We want you here, but we want you to go to Cal Arts." And I said, "I would love to go to Cal Arts, but that's not in the cards." So they gave me a family fellowship from the Disney family. So Walt Disney's family paid for me to go to Cal Arts.
Wow.
Wow.
And then 2 years. Am I playing to both of you? Are we? How does this work? Is this like the Tonight Show?
I'm Patty. That's Lisa. I do comics. I do stuff with cape swords and ray guns, and
I
she
don't want to
does.
put my back to.
She does the stuff with comedy and our media guests.
So I went to Cal Arts, and it's a 4-year program, but after 2 years, they said, "Okay, you're ready." So I started at the studio animating on Mickey's Christmas Carol with Eric Larson, who was one of the 9 Old Men, and did that for the next 25 years until pencils became a felony. And then their artists aren't allowed there anymore, but...
But it was curious, you really fell in the uncanny valley in that because you came in on the tail end of the 9 Old Men era, and then you kind of treaded water in I'm not sure what those days are called, but then you caught up again in the second Renaissance, so the Beauty and the Beast and
Right.
Little Mermaid, Oliver and Company. What was those middle years like?
It was great. It was amazing. I miss it a lot.
Back when
working on-
pencils were allowed.
Yeah. Little Mermaid and Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. I still remember it was fun, you know. We were in heaven. It was amazing to be getting paid to do something that you love to do. And the duck thing came on the side.
Yeah.
Because when working at the studio, you knew everybody. There were only 64 people in the animation department, and Clarence Nash was the original voice of Donald Duck, and he was always there. So I got to know him, and that relationship came out of that sort of apprenticeship. So he took me under his wing and showed me how to do that.
And he kind of did it on the, if I read correctly, kind of did it on the sly. Like, you didn't
Right.
really know that he kind of maybe considered you a possible heir apparent?
Right, because it was about a 3 to 5 year, it takes that long.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that often. He would come in my room where I was animating and say, well, okay, well, if Donald were in this situation, what would he say? Try saying this, say that. And he would leave, and I would think, he must be bored. But it was fun, so, you know, I liked him a lot. We were good friends, so it was fun for me. That's all I was thinking about. But I guess he was making sure that I would be loyal and that my passion and priorities were in the right place. And it wasn't really until I think he knew he didn't have long that he told me. So it was kind of bittersweet.
Yeah. What was the first Donald gig you took?
The last one that Clarence did was Mickey's Christmas Carol, so I was animating on that. He did Donald's voice, and then we did some stuff for Disneyland and some records and things that I started in '85. And I don't remember exactly when those were, but the first the first television show was 1987. They didn't do a lot of stuff for television then.
Yeah,
They didn't even have the Disney Channel.
Yeah,
so
Disney Channel wasn't until like
Right.
89-ish.
90s something. I don't
No,
remember.
wait, no. Actually, I take it back. Disney Channel was early
DuckTales was
80s.
80s something.
But there was like no original programming on it. It was basically the
I don't
late night
remember.
third.
Isn't that funny?
It was a premium channel, and a lot of people weren't getting into it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because I remember people who had it. People bought into it thinking they're going to be able to see Pinocchio and Snow White, and instead they were, getting Zorro. Not that I had a problem with that. I love
Zorro.
Guy Williams Zorro. But then eventually they just made it a regular offering. So, but what point when did they finally just say, like, they tested you out, okay? But again, people don't realize it's not like a regular job. It's basically still a gig to gig sort of situation. At what point did somebody start to say, okay, you're basically Donald now until something changes?
That was Roy E. Disney.
Oh,
so
okay.
he set up Disney character voices right about that same time. So it was right from the beginning, because he said we have to have consistency in our characters. Wayne is Mickey Mouse. He'd already been doing that since the new Mickey Mouse Club. And Clarence passed away, and I was Donald. And at that point, they needed a Minnie and a Goofy, so they found Bill and Rusey. But
I've
right
sat with Bill.
from the
I
beginning,
adore Bill. He's a very fantastic guy.
he's a funny guy. Sweet guy, too. So Roy said, we'll have one voice. Everything has to go through Disney character voices, and Bill is Goofy, and Rusey's Minnie, and Tony's Donald. But it was Clarence that decided, and they knew each other, so everybody was on the same team, and it was...
And that was back when Disney could still be considered a family unit.
It was still run.
Managerially.
Yeah, there were...
Yeah.
Right when you came in, we were finishing up with David, and we just kind of started talking about how technology has really changed comic books, and then we mentioned how
It's changed everything.
It's changed everything, of course, and some things for the better and some things for the worse. So with animation, I'm wondering your thoughts on, do you think it's improved it? Do you think it's taken away from it?
My answer for that is Walt always embraced new technology. That goes without saying. But he never abandoned his roots. So in his life, he was the first person to do sound and color and feature animation, and then combination, and then theme part. Everything was a first for him. It had never been done before, and I think people take that for granted, and they don't even know that. But when he went to live action, he didn't give up animation.
No.
And when he invented audio animatronics, he didn't give up animation. And it's all about story. Do you tell your story in a black and white film, or a theme park attraction at Disneyland, or an animated film, or a CG animated film? And I think that Walt would have, of course, embraced CG, but he wouldn't have thrown out the baby with the bathwater. He would have held on to that. Because it's an art form. It's an American art form that he perfected to a point that had never been done before or since, frankly. I mean, as proud as I am to have worked on Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, I don't think it's Fantasia. We never did. Or Bambi. If you look, I watched Bambi in a theater the other night, and I thought, God, this is a masterpiece. We never did anything like
Just
that.
watching thousands of paintings.
Elaborate.
I mean,
And the
it's amazing.
story is so solid and timeless. It was 1940, and it's still...
If you start rolling
42.
the baby mind sequence of Dumbo, I'll start to tear up.
Yeah.
You don't have a soul if you don't get weepy in that scene. And I don't even lead it. You can start playing it like 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. But yeah.
It's all about the story. It doesn't matter what medium. If you have a good, solid story, you can do it in crayons. So.
It's with everything. Its story is so important. Even like if you go to Disney World, the queue of the line while you're waiting, there's a story happening before you even get on the ride. The waitresses and waiters in restaurants, they're telling a story. It's incredible how it's everywhere.
Right.
And that's what makes it so great. That attention to detail. This guy works at Disney. I mean, he'll tell you.
Wow.
What do you do?
I
He's not
help the
not
monsters at the
impressed
Monsters Inc.
anymore.
laugh floor.
Oh, okay.
Hello, humans.
And I just go to Disney and enjoy it.
Right.
Yes.
There you go. But we're literally celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, and I worked with Susie Lum at the beginning, and that was interesting. She put us through the rigors and all that stuff. But yeah, it was. But it was interesting too about how.
Were you there when we used to do those radio panels?
I think I was right after that because Bill and we talked about that a little
That was
bit.
fun, and we don't do that anymore.
And he lamented the loss of it too. I guess the only problem he had with it was that it was a remote feed, so you'd do it for a radio station in Cincinnati, and then you'd be off, and then 10 minutes later you do the whole thing again for another radio station. But yeah, it sounded like just a great, and the fact that you kind of had free license, you could kind of, I'll work it a little like just off script, but again, knowing the character as well as you guys did, you could do that,
Right.
do that interaction.
It was fun.
And now they got the talking. Now I'm doing Mickey and I don't think we have a talking Donald in the parks yet. I could be wrong.
I think
We
they
do at the castle show,
Yeah.
but I think for the actual interactions where people can individually meet Mickey and Minnie, don't quote me on it. I don't think they've got a talking Donald yet. But hopefully they'll call you on in to, to help with that.
We've done shows with those, sure.
Yeah. What was probably your favorite Donald project? The one that really resonates with you.
For animation, it was Mickey's Christmas Carol, because I was still working with the guys that worked with Walt. But in my own career, it was probably Three Musketeers. That I think was the best thing that we all did together, and I think it's still selling DVDs. So that was that should have been a theatrical release. That was a good film.
Yes.
For as much as Disney invests in the primary characters like that, they seem so hesitant to invest in them cinematically.
I think they.
Now, granted, they're designed for the shorts and stuff like that, but I mean,
But Walt
you
did
know,
features like Mickey and the Beanstalk and Three Caballeros.
Three
and
Caballeros, yeah, exactly.
Saludos Amigos, and they were big hits. I don't think there would. I find, especially when I come to Comic-Cons like this and see the fans, or when you go, the fan mail that we get, or the response that I get, everybody asks about that. Like, why don't they? I think if they did it, I think they would have an audience. I think, I don't know what's, if there's a fear for something, but I think it would do fine.
I love Donald too because he's really a unique character in that he's got the anger issues, You know, I could swear that he's cursing under his breath some of the time. You know, he's just, I love that about him.
He's
that
more
rage.
like all you and I. Everybody's got a little bit of Donald in him. Mickey does become a little milquetoast, and Goofy's kind of a. I love him, but he's kind of a one-note goofball. But Donald has a much wider range. He was in the 40s. Walt called him the Gable of our stable, meaning stable of animals, and Gable was the king of MGM. So Donald was, and they did 12 duck cartoons a year and maybe 3 Mickeys. So,
Well, just you couldn't have Mickey have a tantrum and destroy half of his house, and
Right.
you know, pull the lamp through the wall, and then pulls the whole power.
and that's
through
okay.
it.
It's important to keep them in character. That's
Absolutely.
part of the reason that these characters are. Frank and Ollie used to say that these characters have survived for 80 years for a reason. Just because they've survived doesn't mean you can't kill them. So character integrity is the bottom line for that. Not only what they do, what they don't do, what they say, and what they don't say. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with these guys. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed.
Go. Curious enough, my favorite all-time Donald short was when he takes the pills and he could talk normal. I can talk. At last I can talk. Now I can ask
Ronald
Daisy to
Coleman.
marry me.
At last I can make Daisy be my wife.
And then, of course, he screws up as he always
The
does.
voice pill wears off. And
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah, Donald, to me, he was always the funniest for that. That
come
whole,
over here.
The whole rage thing.
should
I
be
know,
like Ed
I know,
McMahon.
because you're like the
He can be-
oscillating fan in
Yeah.
between us.
Well, here, keep talking.
There you go.
There you go.
See, now you're
All right, we
Johnny
got this
Carson
now.
and you're Ed McMahon.
There we go.
It's better with the lighting too.
And we have the camera right
Now
in the
that we're
middle.
almost done.
I know, right?
We finally figured.
Have you ever seen that clip where Katharine Hepburn is on the, what was the talk
Oh, the
show?
lighting is better here. Hot damn, I remember this one.
I can't remember the talk show host, but it was an interview like this, and before they started the interview, they had the cameras rolling, and she was rearranging the set, and it's a great clip. Look it up.
Oh, man.
Just shifted them around.
She was changing the colors and paint that wall and that carpet. If anyone can survive that carpet, I'll come in and change it myself. Don't laugh, I'll do it. So I just did the same thing.
That's right.
What sort of is there any non-Disney styles of animation or animators that let's just say that you like? You know, we'll leave it at that. Or you've
I've
been
pretty
impressed
much
by
from
it.
the beginning been an admirer of anything that Walt did. I just saw him as the pinnacle of what can be achieved. In my opinion, didn't get any better than that. So that was always my goal and what I strive to even come close to. Even now, I don't think that there's anything that'll stand to Dumbo, and everybody knows Dumbo and
Yes.
Cinderella and all those films, and they're almost 80 years old now, some of them.
It's amazing.
I
I
could
think
have-
you have some cool memorabilia. I'm guessing.
I
You
do.
have
I was about to say, yeah, I was about to say,
collection.
this man is, you have quite the collection.
Here's my chance to plug the Walt Disney Family Museum. Have you been there in San Francisco? It's in the Presidio. It's the most brilliant tribute to Walt Disney. His daughter, Diane Disney Miller, put it together, and it's just an amazingly
In San
inspiring. It's right by the Golden Gate Bridge in the Presidio, and historic buildings. And they have one building that's exhibits that change out, like Mary Blair and Ivan Doyle, Tyrus Wong, Disney artists. And then the main building is the story of Walt from growing up in Kansas City to, Mickey Mouse, to the features, to Disneyland. There's a huge model of Disneyland, and it's that's my laughing place, if you know what that is referring to. So I work with them a lot with my collection. They'll borrow stuff that I have for
Oh, cool.
changing exhibits, and other people that have collected a lot of stuff. But
What's one of the pieces you're the most proud of?
the poster collection, I have an original release movie poster from every one of Walt's films, from Snow White to Happiest Millionaire, in every format. So there's a 1-sheet, a half-sheet, a 3-sheet lobby card set, 6-sheet from, I think he did 85 films. I'm probably wrong on that number, but
Oh,
All
wow,
of
that's
the-
incredible.
So you have a Dr. Sin alias the Scarecrow poster.
That was never released domestically in theaters. It was
Okay.
released
It was
in
the
Europe.
70s.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's a re-release.
That's a
so
re-release. Okay, all right.
I've just got original releases.
All right.
That was television.
Yeah, that was the television.
Originally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only Disney cosplay I have. So.
Oh, sorry to disappoint you.
No, that's fine. No, because I've got
But I
I've
know
got the
about
sheet
it.
as it is, but yeah, I know it was because that was the first time I saw it when it was in the mid '70s when they threw it out in the theaters. But yeah, I'm a big Patrick McGowan nut, so that's Walt Disney and Patrick McGowan, and again 3 times Thomasina and just
Yeah.
just good stuff.
It
And
is
3
good
Lives
stuff.
of Thomasina is always that's one of those live action ones that I throw at people. It's like, check this out, and like I had no idea that was going to be that good or that.
There are a lot of
interesting.
those.
Yeah, a lot of.
I
there's
don't think a lot
them-
of people. I mean, everybody knows "Song of the South," though it's hard to find, but nobody knows "So Dear to My Heart" or "Pollyanna," and they're actually really good films. And people are happily
have
surprised
forgotten-
when they find them.
People are starting to have forgotten the live action Disney stuff.
But
how
when you
good
were
that
talking
was.
about the original, when Disney Channel first started, they did. Play
That
all
was the
those
source
movies.
for that.
I loved it when like the early Disney Channel. I thought was awesome
Yeah, me too.
for sure.
That was the place to see it.
Yep.
Because I think that was even before everything came out on DVD. So
Yes.
Oh yeah. And of course, yeah, the old. What was it? Was it the 7-year cycle the way it used to be?
7 or 8 or 9,
7 or 8. Yeah.
new batch of kids.
Yep. They have the new batch of kids, and they tried that a little while with the VHS, and then with DVD, though,
Well, they're
they just
still
sort
kind
gave
of
it up.
doing that because then now we have a Blu-ray and
Yeah.
with extra added material, and everybody has to get that one. So
That's true.
they're still at it.
Now, you mentioned how Walt embraced technology. He definitely did. That being said, sometimes Disneyland and Disney World, they'll change one of the classic rides or add something. Or do you ever get mad about that?
I do. I think a lot of people do, and I don't.
I do,
I
for
think there's nothing wrong with doing new stuff, especially in the parking lot, as I refer to it. Like, do whatever you want.
That's what I say. Just keep
Like,
adding on, but don't
do
change
whatever
the
you want.
original stuff.
And this is just my opinion. I'm not speaking for the company, of course, but I just think.
Neither am I.
I like the people mover. Like
Yes, I love the
I
people
used to
mover.
love to be able to, after walking around all day, that you could sit on the people mover for 20 minutes, take a load off, and just have a really nice tour. And why not? But
I got a friend of mine that on his break at Monsters every day says, all right, I'm going to ride the People Mover. And that's his chill time.
oh well,
that's
yeah,
his, that's his
I
meditation.
should clarify that they still have it in Florida, but it
Yes.
hasn't been in Disneyland since
Yeah.
whenever they did that. So,
No, our big lament is that studios losing the great movie ride.
Oh, yeah, it's about to close soon.
Yeah, about to close soon. And
that's too bad.
that one, it's interesting to see the effect because a lot of now higher management, they basically cut their teeth on that show because the Great Movie Ride was a lot of people. That was their alumni, the cast members at Disney. So they're trying to do like a big closing event for it. But that's pulled a lot of heartstrings of a lot of people on that one.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think about like Epcot in the 80s, what that was like compared to what it is now. And again, I totally get like adding on the new rides and new stuff is great, but I miss the old stuff so much.
Well, they will say, well, Walt said Disneyland will never be completed, but they forget that as long as there's imagination left in the world, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but I do believe that certain things are so special and wonderful, why take it out? It's
Right.
not, I would leave. I mean, and now I feel bad because I see that kids go and they don't ever get to see what Carousel of Progress was in Disneyland. They do still have it here. And Country Bear Jamboree and Adventure Through Inner Space and America the Beautiful and
And so many of these properties weren't like out there. They weren't complete. Okay, there's a movie and there's a TV show and everything else. When I was a kid, I would go to Disney. I would see things that I had no egress for. There was no Haunted Mansion
Yeah.
cartoon, or there was no Space Mountain movie,
Right.
These were inimical only to the theme parks. Now, it's the IP. You know, it's all okay. Well, here's the movie, here's the cartoon, and now here's the attraction.
Pirates of the Caribbean. When the whole franchise of the movies of Pirates of the Caribbean started, like I was like, oh, I just wanted to be like the ride because I always loved the ride so much, and it's this whole different world, you know. Crap.
Those I
I can
keep
say that 'cause I
thinking
don't work
about
for
those
Disney.
Mary Blair murals that are still under there in Tomorrowland,
Yes.
and Mary Blair has become Monet or Degas.
Yes.
She's world renowned as a spectacular artist, and she did those tile murals. It's a
Yep.
one-of-a-kind piece on both sides that were beautiful, and the sentiment behind it that the children are our future, and that's why it was in Tomorrowland. I thought, that's Disney. That's sweet. So these masterpieces are still there. Like, uncover them.
Yeah.
But I'm not an Imagineer, so. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm sentimental about stuff like that.
I've got a couple of friends in Imagineering they're almost stealth pro old guard. You know, it's almost like I got a friend of mine, I won't mention his name, but yeah, he's man, you know, this isn't what Walt wanted. We gotta do this, and I had to fight for this, and I do this, and that's why he does a lot of projects overseas, because over there they're more. It's like, no, we want Alice in Wonderland, we want Dumbo, we want
Classic.
Snow White, as opposed to domestically Star Wars, Frozen, and Marvel. Over and over and over again. And then, again, not to impugn or dispute any of those properties, everything else, but it's...
No, because like for me, I'm totally into all the Star Wars stuff, especially. But again, like I want it to be added on, not
Yeah.
take away from anything else, you know? Because it's like you want to bring your kids to see the stuff that you saw. And
Yeah.
like so many of the rides are just like totally changed or gone completely.
I had a great letter from, excuse me, Roy E. Disney that was talking about, this is relating to Donald being there for future generations because it's been so many generations in the past. And it's all about family recognition. It's about the parents who can share their childhood with their kids and the grandparents who did it with their kids and now their grandkids. Like, I grew up with this, and I want to share it with you, and it was a family experience. And I did that. And I think that's a very important thing to be able to say, I want to show you the People Mover. And it's a good thing that we still have Donald Duck and
That's right.
Mickey Mouse.
Thank God for that.
Yes, I do. You have a collection of your Disney posters collection. It's a coffee table book, correct? Is it still
it came
available?
out. I think it's out of print. That was
Okay.
in the 2002 or something.
Okay.
I don't
Oh, that's an
remember.
eBay item then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely check. What's on the Horizon for you? Got anything?
DuckTales starts in August.
All right.
Ooh.
And you are Donald?
Yeah.
Okay, just
right.
well, I am. And of course, you know,
There's
certain former Doctor Who is his uncle.
oh, Uncle Scrooge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the guys from Saturday Night Live are doing the nephews, and
Yes, yeah.
there's a lot of excitement about that. So that's what's coming up. There's another show that I did that's in the can that's kind of sitting on a shelf waiting for some place to put it. And I guess I'm not supposed to say what it is or anything. It's a
man.
big secret.
Well,
but there is something else.
there's something else. Okay.
And, well, I mean, you know, we do ice shows every year and
Yeah.
shows for the park and parades and stuff like that.
Now, with this new version of DuckTales, are we going to see a larger presence of Donald? Because in the
Yeah.
original series, he was kind of like a once-in-a-blue moon character. He plopped on in, but I have heard that he's going to be
He is.
a lot more like
That's
the
not a
Carl
spoiler
Barks
alert.
stories.
That's a fact, yeah.
Okay.
He's
Awesome.
very involved.
All right, great. Wow, so looking forward to that. It's a fantastic cast and everything else. So, well, you have a question? Our first question. All right, throw it on us.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I will. That's a good question. Can your viewers at home hear the question?
It's just being
I'll
recorded.
just-
It's not spilling out.
So he asked, he
Yeah.
was paying a very nice compliment of matching clearance, which is the best compliment that I can get, so thank you. And he was asking about socially if we hang out together, the other voices. And the answer to that is Bill Farmer is like a brother to me. I mean, I've known him for 30-something years, and Russi Taylor, who's Minnie Mouse, and Wayne Allwine was Mickey. And there's Tress MacNeille, who is the funniest person on the planet, and Corey Burton, who is equally as talented. And so we've known each other for a long time, and it's definitely like a family, and we do hang out socially a lot. As far as Kingdom Hearts, we don't record together. We used to, but even Bill and Russi and Wayne from probably the 90s, we do our lines on our own. So I never actually get to work with them anymore, which is a shame because it was a lot of fun. There was probably more laughter going on than work. But
See, that's one of those advancements I'm talking about that's maybe not better. You know, sure, they can edit
Yeah.
it seamlessly that it sounds like you all did it together, but
it's much more natural to work off of each other.
For sure.
But they have so much more control, especially with my voice, with all the idiosyncrasies that go with Donald. They can take, I'll do 5 takes and they'll take one word from each one and put them together, and it'll be much better than I could have ever done.
Wow.
So kudos to those engineers, because
That's cool.
they have made Donald, I can say more now that I used to be able to. But anyway, I've never met Sora or any of the other, because they come in on a different
Wow.
day, and I felt lucky to run into Beck Bennett on DuckTales, because I've always been a big fan. So I was, but I'll probably never see him again. So.
do you ever record at home? Do you have like one of those cool home
No,
studios?
I'm old school. If I did, it would be
Go out.
reel-to-reel tape. And
Yeah.
I still have a flip phone. I'm very proud of this. They're going to
Hey,
have
they're
to
becoming cool again.
pull this from my cold, dead hand.
Yeah, it feels more like Star
That's
Trek
right.
that way.
Well, as we leave all that in the future, I think we've hit the end of our time.
Thank you for
This was
having
just-
me.
Thank you for joining
That
us.
was awesome.
He'll be downstairs, and you'll be with us for the whole weekend, correct?
Yep.
All right, outstanding.
Nice
Is it
to
some
meet you
pictures of
guys.
us?
Yes, and how about a round of applause, you guys?
From both
Thank
of
you
you.
so much for joining us. And can you honor us with a brief Donald line?
I'll have to turn my back, forgive my back, but we're not allowed to do this on camera, so.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
Round of applause for our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, he's available for autographs. Any questions? Hit him up at his table. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Oh,
No,
pitch
that was
watch, pitch
awesome.
watch, pitch watch. I think that's the end for us, too,
did
isn't
it.
it?
No, we did it.
We made it to our marathon. All right.
It's pretty fun.
Did anybody stick with us from the beginning to the end
No, but
besides
the
the
audience
camera
kept
girl?
changing.
Yeah. Camera girl and our
Audience
tech
kept
guy.
coming in and out, you know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was a Supercon Live. Thank you for joining us. I'm not sure what's going on next in here, but whatever it is, it's going to be good.
It's gonna be great.
What have you got going on tonight?
I'm doing a comedy show called Couch Potatoes at 7:15 in room 315. And how about you?
I am going to be jumping in one of my Doctor Who panels. I'm with Marco 42, and we're doing the Doctor Who panels because, Peter Capaldi's here this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'll also be sitting down with Vic Mioa, one of our old friends. I've got a new interview format that I've been experimenting for a while. It's called Anything But That.
Oh, do you use a puppet? What's
No.
gonna happen?
What we do, anything but that, is I sit down and I have a sort of a loose discussion with a celebrity, a geek, everything, and we talk about everything except the one thing they're most famous for.
Whoa. That sounds
So
fun.
this enables guests to basically just talk about okay, so
That's cool.
I did this with Margot Kidder a few months ago, and we talked about everything except Superman, and she loved it.
Wow,
and
that's
the crowd loved it
amazing.
and everything else. And he'll have a real Q&A too for his anime stuff
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Star Trek things. But I just, yeah.
It's like
this,
bonus material.
pretty much. This kind of gets the obscure stuff out of the
like
way.
it, I like
and
it.
for
Smart.
real fans that have already know
They already know the
answer.
basics.
All right, I already know what his favorite character is and what this and the
Yeah.
episode and stuff, you know. And
What
so-
was Christopher Reeve like?
Oh, yeah, exactly. All that fine stuff. So thanks for sticking with us, ladies
Yeah,
and
thanks for
gentlemen,
sticking around.
and thanks for hanging on out. We've got 3.5 days left, so by all means, stick around. Round of applause for our camera lady. Yay! Making us look good. Round of applause for our magnificent tech team. These guys are the first ones to arrive, the last ones to leave, so give it respect for them. All right, so thanks for sticking with us. Here you go. Here, eat this.
Whoa, candy.